This episode is brought to you by the podcast Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel. One question I get fairly often is what other travel podcasts I listen to. And as soon as I discovered Wayfinder, I ended up listening through every episode in both seasons. It's a very different format than my show, 25-minute, beautifully produced stories. And what I love is that it's not just about destinations, but about how travel changes us. And what really impressed me was how diverse and thoughtful the stories are. One episode explores the drag scene in Bangkok as a journey of identity and freedom, while another follows an unexpected adventure in Uzbekistan. So once you start listening, I would not be surprised if you end up finishing the whole catalog like I did. So check it out wherever you get your podcast. Just type in Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel. And now here's a clip of what's coming up on today's episode.
Nigeria is a country that everybody should experience. I've seen the world from different perspectives, and I've realized that some people are living a life of they're too careful, they're just so closed up. They don't want to open up to anybody because they are scared. They don't know who to trust. But you come to Nigeria and somebody will just open their home for a total stranger. I grew up in a kind of home where we were taught that it is normal to have a spare room, and that room is supposed to be available in case you have any unplanned guest. Because during my grandfather's era, they traveled on foot and they stop on the way. We call them Iminajo, sojourner, or somebody who is traveling. And you stop anywhere you feel like it's getting dark or any area, you just walk into any household, tell them you're a traveler, and then they're going to welcome you to your home. They're going to cook for you, give you food, take care of you, and then send you off the next day. That is the culture I grew up in, and that is Nigeria.
Hey, I'm Matt Bowles, and this is The Maverick Show. Stories from around the world about what really happens when you build a life beyond borders. Before we dive into the episode, people often ask which travel apps I use most, so I put together a list of my top 10 favorites after more than a decade of traveling the world full time. You can get the list for free when you join my Monday Minute newsletter at themaverickshow.com/apps. And whenever I discover another travel app that I love using, I share it in the Monday Minute, so you'll be the first to know. The next issue drops Monday, so join for free and get my top 10 favorite travel apps at themaverickshow.com/apps. And now let's get into the episode. This is part 2 of my interview with Adenike Joondeph, better known as Dara. In part 1, we talked about her experience growing up in Nigeria, boarding her first flight in 2017, and then her experience and reflections on traveling to over 100 countries on her Nigerian passport. So if you haven't yet heard part 1, you can go back and listen to it after you finish this episode. But right now, in part 2, we're going to talk about how she met her husband, Chris, and co-founded Authentic Traveling Tours to bring people to experience Nigeria. She shares the biggest misconceptions people have about Nigeria before coming, what she's most proud of about her country, and how you can get a special discount if you would like to visit Nigeria on one of her tours. She also reflects on how travel has impacted her, why she feels it's so important for Nigerians to travel internationally, and at the end, of course, I ask her to name her top 5 Afrobeat artists. So please enjoy the conclusion of my interview with Dara. Well, you have mentioned your husband, Chris, a couple times now, and I would love to hear the story of how you met and fell in love. Can you think all the way back before anything romantic happened? What was your very first impression when you first met him, and explain to people what the context was?
We met via Couchsurfing app, which is a travel app. It is not a dating app. Everybody needs to know that. So I had benefited from Couchsurfing the year prior to the year it came. So I just got my apartment and I decided to put it on hosting because I had also been hosted before. I was hosted in Ghana. When I did my paragliding, I stayed with a few hosts. So I put it on hosting, and then I hosted someone. He was a Singaporean, and then he stayed with me. After he stayed with me, I was like, okay, this hosting is not bad. Maybe I can host more. And my husband happened to be the second person that requested to stay with me. According to him, he saw my profile. It was interesting. As of that time, I just started doing tourism. I'd been to a few places in West Africa that he had not been to, even though he had traveled to over 100 countries at the time. So it was like, oh, this lady looks cool. She has also been to a lot of states in that country. She'd be the best to show me around. So he dropped a message and I saw it. And what caught my attention was when he said, I have been to 136 countries. I said, wow, I adore what he's doing. And I think it will be a nice person to hang around, to have conversations with, to pick his brain. Because this is something I was aspiring to be or to do. I just started traveling. I've only been to, I think, 5 countries, if not less at the time. So I wanted to meet him. So I told him, I said, oh, of course, you come to my house. I can show you this place. I can show you that place. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Well, when I met him in person, the first impression was this guy is so open-minded. So there's something about Nigerians. They want to get to us. If we cook for you and you eat it with all your heart and you eat it to the last grain, we're just going to fall in love with you. Like, we love when people appreciate our culture. We love when people try to, when you say cultural appreciation, you try to dance to our music, you try to sing our song, you try to speak our language, you try to eat our food. Oh my God. And that was one of the things I liked. He wanted to eat the way locals were eating. And to me, that was very fascinating. I just love how authentic, because I'm also a very authentic person. And that was a natural attraction. Just like, I like this person. I like how he's not forming. We say forming here. When you're acting like you're posh or you're trying to be a type of way, you say, you're forming. Why are you forming for me? But he didn't form. He was just himself. And that was one of the first few things that I noticed about him.
So when you start dating and then you eventually decide to get engaged and married, what did your family think about you deciding to marry someone outside the culture?
My family is a very open-minded family. The fact that we could use Yahoo Messenger and chat with somebody that is somewhere in another continent says a lot. We've also had a few distant siblings that have also lived abroad. And my dad worked with some international brands like Adenike, and he had already associated with foreigners before. He had them as business partners. So it was quite easy for me to introduce him to my family. In fact, I think my dad fell in love with him first before I did. Because when I took him to my grandma's village, that was the first day I was visiting her myself. Because in my culture, you don't just take a man home if you don't have an intention to marry them. And it's very difficult to start to explain all of this. And so I just told my dad, he knew I was into tourism. So I just told him a foreign client and he wanted to experience something outside Lagos. And I'm thinking of taking him to Ekiti, where I'm from and where my grandma is. And my dad was like, oh, really? So my dad wanted to put a lot of things in place. He wanted to take care of the toilet. I said, don't worry. This guy that I'm bringing, he needs to enter the bus with goats when he was in other African countries. He has been through wars. He's going to survive. Don't adjust anything. I just want to inform you so I can tell grandma that I'm coming and then we'll take care of every other thing. So we got there. There was no electricity. We slept in the village. We cooked with my grandma. We ate. We took pictures with her. We even visited my grandfather's graveyard. And that was like, sold it out for my dad. My dad was like, this person that went to my mother's house, saw my father's grave, I like him. So he was able to warm his way through to my father's heart before I did the introduction. So that was it. That was easy for us as a family.
Well, I understand his family came into Nigeria for the wedding. Can you describe the wedding and what it was like to bring the families together?
Bringing them to Nigeria was very interesting. Even before the wedding, he gave them a tour. My husband gave his family a tour around Lagos without me. And I was like, oh, wow, you're now a Niger boy, yo. So they explored Lagos. It was very, very fun. It was just like we're just having the best time. It wasn't stressful at all. The planning, of course, planning is always stressful. And I love how excited my husband was. Usually, when you are planning a wedding and you give your husband's family a wedding list, we call it the dowry list. It's always like 40 items, a live goat, 42 bars of yams, endless list. And all the items on this list are very significant. We're not trying to open a supermarket. So I love how interested he was. Here in Nigeria, it is the family of the groom that usually go, not typically the groom. So if he has women in his family, like a sister or just maybe aunts, females would go to the market to buy this thing so that they can negotiate. In our culture, it's not really something men do, right? But he was so interested. It was like, I want to buy the goats. I want to be part of this. Yes, yes. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. So I was just home chilling, getting ready to be a bride. And my husband was doing the job as he should. But we both had fun. We're still planning to do another wedding when we probably get to a stable location, maybe settle down somewhere. We haven't done the white wedding yet, but the traditional wedding was great.
Well, first of all, you two are absolutely adorable together. Some of my very favorite content you do is when the two of you are in the video together and you both have this amazing dynamic together, and it's so lovely. And you're both obviously extremely passionate about Nigeria, and you have started this company, Authentic Traveling Tours, where you are bringing travelers and people from outside Nigeria into Nigeria to experience the country. Can you share about the founding of that business and what type of tours you're offering?
So we started Authentic Traveling Tours last year. And this whole idea started from me showing my husband around. I've also been doing some tours, individual tours, private tours, but nothing on a large scale. So we just came together, and I have the expertise. I'm a native. I'm here. Even if I am not all-round tour guide, I have contact, connect. I can get around. I can make calls. I can put things together. And he asks the audience. He has been to a lot of countries in Africa, and he has also been to a lot of states in Nigeria. And he has a huge following when it comes to Nigeria and even Nigerians in diaspora. So people love how he explores Africa and he talks about it. And we just thought about it that this is going to be an opportunity to bring these people. They see him, they love what they see. And some of these people also want to experience the same thing, but they don't know how to go about it because Nigeria is not really that accessible. It's accessible if you know someone that can hold your hand or hold you by the hand and show you around. But it is not accessible if you just want to book a flight and come here. You're going to be lost. And then we just thought about it. Let's do it. Instead, we wanted to just do it one-off trip. And that was how it started. We did the first one, and then we realized that the first post he put out, 1,000 people showed interest. They filled the form. He had to select out of those people who filled the form, and he had to screen them and all of that. I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be fun. Let's do it. And that was our Authentic Traveling start. And it is also a business that we've been able to build together to help us build a stable life, because at some point in our life, he had to move from the US to Nigeria. He wouldn't have been able to do that if there was no backup or other option for him to fall back into. We can't start going into the employment market here in Nigeria. All of that is going to be very draining. So we're just like, okay, this is an opportunity. This is already what we love doing. Let's just build market around this and extend our income pending when we can decide where we want to go and live or base permanently, since I cannot enter the US right now. But it's been fun. It's been amazing. We've hosted about 7 group trips. Oh my God, I can't believe that. It's been like a year and we've hosted about 7 trips. We've met amazing people. About 60 people have come to Nigeria to explore Nigeria through us. So our tour is southwestern part of Nigeria. I love to call it exploring the Yoruba culture, because the southwestern part of Nigeria is occupied by the Yoruba people, which is where I am from. I'm a Yoruba girl, blood. My dad is Yoruba. My dad is from Ekiti State. My mom is Yoruba. My mom is from Ijebu, Ogun State. So Ogun State is one of the states we explore on our tour. There are about 6 states on this geographical zone, the southwestern part of Nigeria, and we explore 4 states out of these 6 states. By the end of the trip, our travelers can say they've experienced the Yoruba culture. They've experienced the spicy food because we love it spicy. They've experienced the dance, the smile, we love to stay happy. All of these things are things that we introduce to our people, the authenticity of all of this experience, as raw as it is. And they go back home a different person than how they came. It's an amazing experience.
What are the biggest misconceptions that first-time visitors typically have before they arrive? And then is there a moment during your tours when you can actually see people's perception changing?
People believe that the whole of Nigeria is not safe. That is not true at all. Yes, we are experiencing insecurity in some areas. That is for a fact. But then we know this area. Some people stay away from the areas. In all these areas that we're saying we know, some people still live there and they know how to maneuver and maybe stay away from arm's way and all of that and still keep safe, right? So that's a major misconception. People come and they know they get to Nigeria. The first day, they see how warm people are. They see how people can just walk up to them on the street. Then we go out at night and have fun. And at the end of the trip, they're like, I wish I had come here sooner. I'm glad I didn't listen to what they said. Some people don't even tell their family that they are coming. Yeah, they just book the flight and come. They're like, okay, I'm going to take the risk. But then they realize that there's actually no risk to take, especially if you're exploring the southwestern part of Nigeria. Even if you want to explore the northern part, the locals know how to take you around without putting you in danger. So Nigeria is relatively safe and people should come to Nigeria.
So who comes on your tours? What is the group vibe like?
It's mixed, dynamic. The highest frequency would be from Europe and from USA. But then we've had Brazilian, we've had Caribbeans, we had one lady from Haiti. I was like, this is my sister. We also have different age groups. We've had people in their 60s, we've had people in their 50s, we've had people in their 40s, we've had 30s. We've also had teenagers maybe who travel with their parents. Probably they were born in the diaspora and then their parents are Nigerians and they want them to come and experience their culture. And they entrust them with us because they've seen us. It's very, very interesting how cruise makes the trust stronger. If I was the one advertising these trips, I probably would not have that much traction as much as Chris had got it because they see Chris as a foreigner. And some of them are like, if a foreigner can come to my country and enjoy my country and say these good things about my country, I'm in Nigeria, I need to go back home. Or I'm an African, I need to go back home. I need to be traced. Or those that are born in Brazil or places like that have African lineage in their blood and all of that. They see Chris and they're like, if a white person can do this, I'm black, I need to go back to Africa. So yeah, we have different type of people that come on our trip and it's so amazing to meet all of them.
What is one thing about Nigeria that you are most proud of that you want to ensure everyone who comes on this trip gets to experience?
Hospitality. Number one, being to 101 countries, I can tell you, nothing beats the hospitality of Nigerians. I've seen countries that have come close, but I think Nigeria is a country that everybody should experience. I've seen the world from different perspectives, and I've realized that some people are living a life of they're too careful, they're just so closed up. They don't want to open up to anybody because they are scared. They don't know who to trust. But you come to Nigeria and somebody will just open their home for a total stranger. I grew up in a kind of home where we were taught that it is normal to have a spare room. And that room is supposed to be available in case you have any unplanned guest. Because during my grandfather's era, they traveled on foot and they stop on the way. We call them Iminajo, sojourner, or somebody who is traveling. And you stop anywhere you feel like it's getting dark or any area, you just walk into any household, tell them you're a traveler, and then they're going to welcome you to your home. They're going to cook for you, give you food, take care of you, and then send you off the next day. That is the culture I grew up in, and that is Nigeria. Even though in the Places like Lagos is still a little bit diluted in that aspect, but still you would find that hospitality. So hospitality, top notch. I love Nigeria for that. And I think that is one of the things that have been keeping us together. The love, even though if you have learned about our politics, is also one of the major weapons that politicians use to try to cause separation amongst us, because that love is very strong. And they know that if you use this as a weapon, you can penetrate that group, because that way you want to start to hate each other, but you're supposed to love each other. So that genuine kindness, being kind to you without expecting anything in return, you would find it here in Nigeria.
This episode is brought to you by the podcast Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel. One of the things I like most about Wayfinder is that even though each episode centers on a destination, the show is really about the transformative moments that shape how we see the world and ourselves. Hosted by veteran travel writer Daniel Scheffler, each episode explores a different corner of the world, from the Medinas of Tunisia to safaris in Tanzania. But what really stays with you are the stories of self-discovery and human connection. I've literally listened to every episode, and I have a feeling that you'll understand why once you start. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel. And now, back to the episode. I love that you said that, because one of the stories that I have been telling since I went to Lagos in 2019 is how on my first day in Lagos, I went to a coffee shop and I was working there and ordered a coffee and some snacks and stuff. I was ready to go and I asked for the bill, and the bill came and I gave him my credit card, and my credit card didn't work. And I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, is there an ATM machine around here that I can get the money out of and I'll pay you that way? And the waiter says, sure, I'll walk you over to the ATM machine. I'll show you where it is. I said, great, thank you. Walks me over to the ATM machine. I take my ATM card out. I put it in the ATM machine. My ATM card doesn't work. So now I have no credit card, no ATM card, no money, and I'm standing there and I have a bill to pay, and the waiter's standing next to me. And just at that moment, there were two ATMs next to each other. This Nigerian guy comes up to use the ATM machine himself, and goes to the one next to me, and he looks over and he's like, oh, what's up, man? He's like, the ATM machines, you can't get any money out? And I was like, no, my card's not working. And he's like, and you got a bill to pay? And I was like, yeah, I got a bill to pay. And he just asked the waiter, how much is that? And the waiter tells him. And he gets his money out of the ATM machine. He pays the waiter for my bill, gives the waiter a tip, and then just turns around and goes to get into his car. And I was like, bro, thank you, but how do I get that back to you? He goes, don't worry about it, man. Welcome to Nigeria. And that was literally the love that I felt and the welcome that I got in your country. And I have told that story many times on this podcast. I tell people all the time, and I said, listen, this is what my experience in Nigeria was. So I love that you shared that, because I felt that as well when I was there, and it is truly a special place.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm so proud of it.
So talk about what you have coming up for people that would like to go on one of your tours. When is your next tour that people can sign up for? What is it going to be like? And how can people join?
So for Authentic Traveling Tours, our next trip is going to be in April. It's also the similar itinerary we've been doing for a while, which is the southwestern part of Nigeria. It basically starts in Lagos. We show you what Lagos has to offer. We visit some of the major attractions in Lagos, and you also get to visit the legendary Fela Shrine. The Fela's son is always performing every night, and sometimes even his grandson will be performing. It happens every Sunday night, so it's not like they're putting up a performance for the tourists. So you get to see the authentic nightlife. You see locals, you see them hailing, dancing. You feel the vibe, the music, the fun, the ambience is great. And then after Lagos, we go to Badagry, where we get to learn about history. We get to learn about slave trade. Some people don't like to hear that word, slave trade, but it is part of our history. It does not define us, but it's something that happened to us. And some of our people were taken, and we have to keep telling the story. not because we want anybody to hate anybody, but just for you to understand what we've been through or what our people have been through and what has made us strong and what has made us who we are today. So we're going to visit Badagry. It's an historical town. And we come back to Lagos, then we get on the journey outside of Lagos, where the real deal is. Because the further you go from Lagos, the more authentic it gets. Because we know Lagos is a mega city. So you need to go to the rural areas to see the authentic vibe itself. And the further you go, the more you begin to see the hospitality pan out, the more you begin to see the warmth. People are more patient with you. People are more friendly. They are more excited to see you. So we go to Abeokuta. We learn about the Egba people. Before Nigeria, we had kingdoms. We have the Dahomey kingdom that is now Benin Republic. So Abeokuta that we know today used to be another kingdom. We used to call it the Egba kingdom. So you learn about the Egba people while you're in Abeokuta. We also get to visit one of the biggest presidential library in the world, which is the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library. If you're lucky, maybe we get to see him. We can't guarantee that, but he's a very humble person. If he's walking by, he can always say hi to us. It's a huge library, and we're going to do a tour of the library. You also get to learn about his military life, when he was in prison, and all of that. It also gives you a political overview of what Nigeria is about. It's a way to get to know about the country more. And then from Abeokuta, we've moved to another state. Abeokuta is the capital city of Ogun State. So you have left Lagos, you've moved to Ogun State. Then we go to Ibadan, which is the capital city of Oyo State, another state, which is the Yoruba state too. Whoever has tried to learn about Yoruba would have heard about the great Oyo kingdom. Oyo people are affiliated to that. So we're going to visit the museum there and just some other cultural activities. Then we move to one of my favorite places, which is Osho State. And that is where, if you want to trace the origin of the Yoruba people, you trace them to Ile-Ife, and Ile-Ife is in Osun State. Although we'll not be visiting Ile-Ife, but we'll be visiting Osogbo. And in Osogbo, we have one of the only 2 UNESCO sites that we have in Nigeria. So you get to visit. It's called the Osogbo Grove, the shrine. Get to learn about the religious aspect of the Yoruba people. What were we practicing before the colonial era, before Christianity was introduced to us. It's just an amazing trip. And then you go back to Lagos, and then you do a cooking class, and you get to cook Janju jollof rice. You cook and you eat. You also learn to cook other Yoruba cuisines and meals. You can do nightlife if you still have the energy. Most people always feel exhausted after coming back to Lagos, but we still have more things for you. And then on Sunday, if your flight is not early, you can join us to worship in church, because we are very religious in Nigeria and we love to dance and praise God on Sundays. So if you want to enjoy that aspect and see how people praise God, because church in Nigeria is definitely different from church in America. So if that is on top of your list, we also have an opportunity for people to enjoy that. And you leave Nigeria feeling like, oh, I'm so in love, I can't wait to come back. But that is just one part of so many cultures that we have. A lot of people already know that Nigeria has 250 tribes. We have dynamic cultures. So you can come back and visit the East to experience the Igbo culture. You can come back and visit the North to experience the Awusa and different tribes. There is Ibibio. You can even decide to move to Nigeria. We want you to move here and enjoy. That is the end goal. That is the aim. But we have to dish it out bit by bit to make you fall in love gradually. And then you now finally decide to come and be part of us. That's just an overview of what we offer for that trip. We're also planning to extend to other areas in Nigeria. We have a big group that we are going to be hosting soon, and we're going to be taking them to different regions in Nigeria. So from that experience, we would eventually put things together for those that have longer stay or that can stay 2 to 3 weeks, because you can't explore all of these regions in just 1 week. It is not possible. So that way we can take you to other regions, right? But for now, it is just the Southwest, and our next trip is in April. For whoever that wants to join that trip, they can go to the Instagram page, Authentic Traveling Tours. The link is there. They can register, and we can't wait to meet you.
Amazing. And I understand it is much easier for Americans to get a visa to Nigeria now than it was when I went back in 2019. I have been telling that as one of my most challenging visa stories, especially trying to get it from outside the United States because I was already on the continent. And it ended up being a whole process. But now they have an e-visa.
Yes, we do. It's easier now. In fact, we've received some visas in less than 30 minutes. So all you just have to do is upload your bank statement and some other document, and then your visa drops. Very, very easy. And for those that probably have future plans to visit Nigeria, if you would like to visit more than once, we always advise that you go for the sticker visa instead. If you're already in New York, you can easily get a visa there. And there are also a few other states in USA that you can get a visa, and some countries in Europe too that you can easily walk into a Nigerian embassy to get a sticker visa. But if you just want to visit this one time, the e-visa is very easy and it drops in like few minutes. You can apply yourself. You don't need a third party. You don't need an agent. Very, very easy. So yes, Nigeria is open and easier for you to visit now.
And for Maverick Show listeners, is it possible for them to get a special discount if they jump on one of your tours?
Yes, of course. We're offering you $200 off. So just mention you're from this podcast and we take $200 off your fee and you pay the balance. So you can reach out to us, and you can also contact us via our website, authentictravelingtours.co.
We're going to link all that up, of course, in the show notes as well, folks. So you can just go to themaverickshow.com, go to the show notes for this episode, and there we'll have the link to get all the information, dates, itinerary, everything else about the tour, as well as your discount code to get your $200 off. I am curious, how can you tell if a traveler coming to Nigeria is genuinely curious about Nigeria or they're just collecting countries and trying to check it off their list?
I don't think I really care about the reason you're coming. I care about how you're living. Because it's possible. There are some countries that I've actually visited personally, and I'm like, wow, this is very close to Thailand. Let me go. That was how I felt about Cambodia. I was just in Thailand and I was like, I can actually go to Cambodia. What is the visa policy? I checked. Oh, this one Narra. Let me give it a try. I got to Cambodia before I started to research about the country. And I didn't live the same way because I love the food. I love the people. So you can come whatever mindset you have, whatever, even if you're counting country. We want you. But we know that you're not going to live the same. You're going to fall in love with us and you're going to talk about us. Just the same way Matthew is talking about us. That is just who we are. You cannot help but fall in love with Nigeria. So regardless of your first impression or your why, we are very accommodating of you. We just want you to come. We want to show you love. We want to show you who exactly we are. And you're welcome to Nigeria.
Why is it so important for you to help more Nigerians travel the world? If every single Nigerian could spend a month abroad in the country of their choice, what would they gain by that?
Exposure. I think it's very important that Nigerians travel, because coming from this part of the world, a lot of people do not know that there is something better out there. Because I don't like to get into politics, but there is no way you want to talk about Nigeria that you won't really talk about politics, because everybody, I'm sure even animals, know how corrupt the system is in Nigeria. And that's one of the things that we are struggling or we are suffering from at the moment. So a lot of Nigerians need to travel out to see what other leaders are doing for their citizens, to see what other governments are providing for their citizens, to see how they are giving back to their communities, how the people that they voted to serve are truly serving, and understand the service that we are experiencing here. And I think that would help us to be more interested in politics, because if you check the percentage of people who do not have voters card in Nigeria, you'll be surprised, because a lot of people have this belief that we've been voting and there've been no change. So they just felt like, I'm no longer going to vote. It's a waste of time. But these are the things that they need to go and experience. And it also opens your eyes to a lot of things like structure, systems. You understand that shortcut is not the only way. You can actually do things right and things still work out fine for you. Just a lot of things. I think it would really change our mindset. and restructure our perspective about life. So I want all Nigerians to travel to experience that. I know that they deserve better and fight for what they truly deserve.
And now let's flip the question around. Why is it important for more Americans to spend time in Nigeria? If every single American citizen could spend 1 month in Nigeria, what would they gain?
To experience the true identity of Nigeria and not just what they've been told. Because that's the major thing that I see or I hear when people come to Nigeria. There is this perspective that is being distributed out there. Nigeria is this type of way. As much as there are Nigerians also doing great abroad, the negative narratives are more than the positive. So I want these people to come to Nigeria to experience who we truly are. This is no filter. This is us. If you had not been to Nigeria now, you wouldn't have met the guy that did what he did. And what did he tell you? He said, welcome to Nigeria. That is who we truly are. We are hospitable. We are loving. We are caring. We have amazing food. We want to share our food. We want to share our culture. Because I know every single person that comes to Nigeria is going to go out there and be a marketer of the country. And gradually we'll begin to change the narrative that has already been put out there about this amazing country.
Well, you currently have over 100,000 followers on social media. Who do you create your travel content for? And what are your goals with your travel content? Why do you create it?
I create my travel content for those that feel or think that the Nigerian passport is completely useless, because that's a term that a lot of people use. Yes, we are ranked as one of the lowest in the passport index. We have fewer countries we can visit visa-free or visa on arrival or even e-visa. Countries are banning us here and there. But this same passports, I used it to visit 100 countries. So it's showing people that it is not impossible. Yes, it is stressful. Yes, there are a lot of challenges. But I want people to see through me that it is actually possible to achieve these things. And that's why I also try to bring them along my journey. I also try to show them the raw experiences. I experienced some struggles assessing Sabah in Malaysia recently, and I posted about it. And at the end of the day, I was still able to visit Sabah, and I still had fun. But people saw the journey to that destination. And that is what I aim to achieve, to show people that the journey may not be easy, but the destination is actually worth the fight. That is what I'm driving at. And I'm also doing this to prove to myself, that 10 years old girl that would never have imagined that she's going to be traveling the world in how many years' time. And then she's doing it. I post for myself, and I also post for Nigerians that do not think or imagine that they can visit or explore the world with their own passport, because some believe they have to get a second passport to be able to travel. But I'm showing them that even with your Nigerian passport, there's so much more you can do with that passport.
Thinking back on all of your travels now to 100 plus countries, what impact has all of that travel had on you as a person?
Wow, a lot. A lot. It has taught me to be more patient, to be more understanding. It has taught me to evaluate things from different perspectives and not just be closed. Your way is not always the way. There are many perspectives. It can stand at the opposite side and see things from different viewpoints. It has taught me that life is beyond what I grew up to understand to what I grew up to know. It has also taught me that we are all humans. Sometimes on social media, you see things that makes you want to hate humanity. And you're like, oh, why is this happening? Things just come on your timeline. But then when you travel, you realize that humanity is actually beautiful. There are amazing people out there. You just need to cross the border to meet them. So travel has changed me in a lot of ways that I cannot even put into words. But I know definitely that I'm not the same person that I was when I started to travel.
And why are you so passionate about continuing to travel? What does travel mean to you today?
Two things. I started traveling just because it was a passion and I wanted to travel. And then somehow I realized that, wow, I'm actually doing so much. Really, I've done 60 countries in such a short period of time. And then out of curiosity, I was like, how far can I go? I'm married to an American. Yeah, America right now, it looks like a roadblock. I don't know how long this is going to take, but eventually I'm going to become an American citizen. I don't know how long that is going to take. So maybe I'm going to have another passport. But now my curiosity is, how far can I go with this passport? I want to max it out. I want to get to a stage that I push the door, I try to kick it down, and they tell me, no, you can't get through. So that's what is in my head right now. I'm not under pressure. I travel as I want, no specific timeline, but I'm challenging myself to visit as many countries as possible before I have the opportunity to another passport, because I want to see how many countries can I visit on this passport.
Well, speaking of that, you are actually going to be a keynote speaker along with your husband, Chris, at the Extraordinary Travel Festival, which is an entire event filled with people that have either already been to every country in the world or are actively pursuing the goal of getting there. It's going to be in Bangkok in October 22nd to 25th, 2026. I am going to be there as well. I was a keynote speaker 2 years ago, the last time they did it. I'm super excited to be there and hear you and Chris speak. Can you share a little bit for folks that might like to come through, meet you in person? What is your talk going to be about?
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about different aspects of our life, personal, how we met, our marriage, how we've been able to hang in there even during this challenges, immigration here and there, and how we've been able to travel to so many countries together. My personal challenges, traveling with a Nigerian passport, all of these areas are going to be talked about. We're going to be talking together, my husband and I, so I think it's going to be more fun.
I already told you my favorite videos are the ones with you two together. So I am going to get a front row seat for this talk. It's going to be amazing. If anybody wants to come through and link up with us in person there, you can get a ticket at extraordinarytravelfest.com, and you can use the code Maverick for a $100 discount on your ticket to the event. And then shoot me a DM on Instagram at Maverick Show Pod. Let me know you're going to come through, and we'll all be able to link up there in person. It'll be amazing. I actually think that is the perfect point to end the main portion of this interview. And at this point, are you ready to move in to the lightning round?
Let's go. Always ready.
Let's do it.
The lightning round.
All right. What is one travel hack that you use that you can recommend?
Combo trips. I cannot overemphasize that. Combo trips. I think that has helped me a lot. Traveling from Nigeria is very expensive. You've probably heard of the taxes we have to pay. So it makes flights very expensive. So whenever I decide to travel, I can as well just make it count. So I try to add extra countries, nearby countries. If I'm in Europe, where can I visit? How can I do 4 countries on one trip? I think that has been the act that has helped me to achieve the number of countries I've achieved now in a short period of time. Of course, I don't just jump and just visit and go. That is not the main goal of exploring these countries. There are some countries that I spend 1 month and some countries that I spend a day, depending on the countries I'm going. But I always love to combine trips because it helps me to get great value for my money. And who does not love an extra country on the count? So yes, combine countries, multi-city flight tickets, and get the best value for your money.
Knowing everything that you know now, if you could go back and give one piece of advice to your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give?
I would have just told her that, girl, everything is going to work out. You need not to worry about that. 18, where was I? I'm sure a lot of things were going through my head, but I would have told myself that you're going to do amazing. As a matter of fact, what you're doing right now is not what you're going to be doing in the next 15 years. So just keep going. The future is bright.
Of the 100+ countries that you have now been to, in addition to Nigeria, what are 3 other places you would most recommend people should definitely check out?
I would say Belize. Belize was one of my favorite countries. And I would say definitely check it out. Sao Tome. I don't know why a lot of people are not visiting Sao Tome. Such a beautiful, 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 beautiful African country. I would say you should check it out. And Eswatini. Don't just say, this country is very tiny on the map. Don't even dare, because that country is going to shock you. You should visit Eswatini. So those 3 countries on top of my list.
All right. What are your top 3 bucket list destinations, places you have not yet been, currently the highest on your list you would most love to see?
I always tell myself that it's long overdue. I should have visited India a long time ago, but it is on top of my bucket list. I love the culture. We have huge Indian communities here in Nigeria. We have a lot of restaurant Indian food. So I would really love to visit India, where all those Bollywood movies are coming from. I want to see it. The second country would be China. The reason I want to visit China, apart from the fact that, if I'm not exaggerating, about 90% of everything we have in Nigeria are made in China. I don't know if that is the case in America. Even my phone was probably coupled in China. So I want to see where all those things are coming from. And I've been seeing these videos about China on my timeline, and I'm just fascinated about the technology, and I just want to experience it. And the third will be Colombia. So when I was very young, when I was in primary schools, there was this ice cream that we used to enjoy. The ice cream was called Colombia, and we had a song for it. And the song goes, Colombia, I love you. Colombia, I enjoy you. And that was the first time I heard about Colombia. But growing up, I joined a salsa class, and I started to learn how to dance salsa. And I heard that it is from Colombia. I'm like, I am going to Colombia. So Colombia, I cannot wait to see you. So those 3 countries are on top of my list.
Those are amazing picks. And I will tell you, one of the other things that surprised and delighted me about my time in Nigeria was, in fact, the Indian food, because that is my favorite food in the whole world, I think. And as you said, there is a substantial Indian diaspora population in Nigeria. The Indian food is amazing. I ate so much Indian food in Nigeria, and it was so good. So I love that pick. And then Colombia also, yeah, definitely support that pick. Colombia is a super special and amazing country. All right, we now have to talk about jollof rice. And for people that are not familiar with this dish, can you explain what the dish is, and then explain the, shall we say, competitive dynamic that goes on in West Africa, just so that people have context for the Jollof Wars? And then I would like you to weigh in on which country makes the best jollof.
Okay, so jollof rice is a type of rice that is cooked in a tomato-based ingredient. Starting with tomato sauce, either the sachet or the grounded fresh tomato, and then some other ingredients like thyme, curry, and some other spices. And then you're just cooking your rice in, some people call it concoction, but it's jollof because it's a concoction rice. Don't tell a Nigerian that I said concoction, but I don't want to use the word jollof, but it's a type of rice preparation, but it's tomato based. And it is very common in West Africa. And you can find it in Ghana, you can find it in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, you can find it in different African countries. Some claim that their jollof rice is the best, but we all know where the real jollof rice is. But there's this history that they are claiming that jollof rice is from Senegal. I don't know what they are eating in that country, but that is not the same as our jollof rice. So maybe there's one jollof rice that started from Senegal, but the Nigerian jollof rice is different, and it's owned by us, and it is the best. There is no question. The Nigerian jollof is the best. And we all know this. So apologies to my Liberian, Guinean brothers. Charlie, we love you, but you know our rice is the best. So when it comes to Nigeria, we would also give you the jollof rice to taste and be the judge. Thank you.
Let me go a level deeper. Is there a particular restaurant in Lagos that makes the best jollof. If someone was to say, I'm coming, I want to experience the Nigerian jollof, where do I go? Where do you send them?
Somebody coming to Nigeria or Lagos can be staying in any area in Lagos. So for accessibility, and also I've tried their rice and I know the rice is good. So I would recommend Item 7 Go. They have different chain and different outlets in Lagos. They're also in Ibadan. So just look for Item 7 Go and order that jollof rice and chicken, and you're gonna love it.
All right. And for the final question, the final item, we have to talk about Afro beats, which I told you is what brought me to Nigeria in the very first place and motivated my month in Lagos, which of course turned out to be magical and incredible. Can you share a little bit about just the history and context of Afro beats for people that may not be super familiar with the music genre? And then I would love for you to put people on to your top 5 favorite Afrobeat artists.
So Afrobeat is a genre of music in Nigeria. We already know who the king of Afrobeat is. It all started from Fela Kuti, and then we started to have more artists. But now we have the new generation artists. We have Davido, we have the Whiskey, we have the Burna Boy. So my top 5 would be Asake, number 1, Kings Daniel, number 2, Tengs, number 3, Davido, number 4, and drumroll, number 5. Burna Boy.
Amazing. I love that. All right. We are going to link up everything that we have discussed in this episode in one place in the show notes. Okay. So folks, you can just go to themaverickshow.com and go to the show notes for this episode. There you're going to find the direct links to the authentic traveling tours in Nigeria. You can see the dates, you can see the itinerary, and we're going to have your discount code to get your $200 off. We're also going to link up the Extraordinary Travel Fest, where you can come and hang out with us all in person, and you're going to get your $100 discount off your ETF ticket there as well. And then for people that would like to follow you on social media, come into your world, how can people find you in these internet streets?
You can find me at Dara for enjoyment only. Dara as in Dara. Then for enjoyment only is an English word, which means I am here for enjoyment. Find me Dara for enjoyment only on Instagram, the only one.
Amazing. We're going to link that up as well in the show notes, of course. This was such a special conversation, Dara. Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure. It was fun. We could go on, but it was such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And I am super excited to hang out in person in Bangkok, which will be amazing. And hopefully some Maverick Show listeners will join us there. I hope that I can end up on one of your Nigeria tours, because I need to come back sooner rather than later, and definitely want to see it with you and Chris, which would be super, super special. So hopefully I can get back and get on one of those tours myself. And hopefully some Maverick Show listeners will come through and hang out with you guys as well. So thank you for everything. I think what you're doing is so amazing, and I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody. This episode was brought to you by the podcast Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel. If you want a travel podcast that understands that meaningful travel stories are not about where you go, but what changes when you get there, check out Wayfinder. My favorite episode is called Inside Bangkok's Drag Empire with Pangina Heels, which I encourage you to start with. Daniel Scheffler is at his best hosting this episode. The guest is incredible, and the episode is an amazing dive into both Bangkok nightlife and an inspiring personal journey of self-discovery, identity, and resilience. You can listen wherever you are now listening to this podcast. Just type in Wayfinder, Life-Changing Travel.